people talk when they shouldn't be talking.
What do we want to talk about?
I am him. I am him.
Hey, this the Red Carpet Rain. Got another good one for you guys tonight. We got the WWE Raw live show commentary reaction. We got this for the episode of April 1st, 2024, the last Raw before WrestleMania. So this definitely the last Raw, something you don't want to miss. And this Raw was very solid. We have The Rock that came back to Brooklyn from Monday Night Raw. And, of course, we have the full preview talking about WrestleMania 40. But before we get into it, let's talk about the match card. And, of course, we got the bonus round. The bonus round is Becky Lynch book review. Becky Lynch, the man, the average girl. Audiobook 2024, the review of the audiobook that was covered here on Red Carpet Rain. Yesterday was part 3 and over the past week of the audiobook that was covered here. But before we begin, Monday Night Raw review, everything, and then of course the bonus round, let's take a few moments to look over the match card. And this is the match card that is for April 1st. So let's take a few moments. Let's look over the match card. The matches were Sami Zayn versus Big Bronson Reed, Tommaso Ciampa, and DIY tag team match, Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell versus Maxxine and Ivy. And of course, segment of The Rock and Roman. And then the main event, we have Seth freaking Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion, versus Solo Sikoa. So let's take a few moments to look over this match card for Raw for April 1st. All right, that is the match card. Now let's get into the beginning of Raw. Raw, we had The Rock. He came out, and Roman came out. We talked a lot about how Rock talked about how he attacked Cody Rhodes. He gave him a whooping last week. We know that was epic whooping he gave him. He literally gave that man that work. We all know how that work goes.
You about to get that work, son. You about to get that work, son.
So he gave him that work, attacked Cody Rhodes outside the building of the Allstate Arena in Chicago, hit him on the bus, had him bloody, leave him to a bloody pulp, gave him that work, then cursed outside all over the place, off camera, saying he don't care about the cameraman, don't care about the censors, anything, going real uncensored, real dry, real edgy. Not dry, but edgy, uncensored, very, 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 very entertaining. We had of Monday Night Raw last week. It was in Chicago. Now, Seth Rollins came out and he said that, he's willing to put up a challenge. And he said that he wants to face either Rock or Roman tonight. He said he don't care if it's still cage match. He don't care if it's bloodline rules. He said he don't care what the case may be, but he wants to fight. But Rock and Roman wasn't going for it. Instead, Solo Sikoa accepted the challenge. It will be as advertised as you saw on the match card. The main event will be Seth versus Solo. And this is really heating up the tag team match of Roman and Rock versus Seth and Cody. And they said Cody was not cleared at the beginning of Raw, but we will explain more to that later. But it was a good way to kick off Raw, except the main event. Rock talked about, he talked about the Cody crybabies. He talked about how the kids were crying. They show clips of that. He said he's a dad, a 3-time girl dad. And he said, he cut a great promo. And he said he did it simply because he had to, because Cody was getting his business.
There are moments in life where people talk when they shouldn't be talking.
So he cut a great promo tonight, had the crowd going. Crowd was really, really into it, really booing the Rock. Rocky sucks. Rock is really taking on this Hollywood Rock heel persona, doing the old vintage vest and the shirts he wears. And Roman, as great as Roman is, he's been looking like an underling to the Rock. But anywho, this was a great way to kick off Monday Night Raw. Then later on, we had matches as advertised. Like I said, very, very good way to kick off Raw. And as we see, this was all them coming out, hugging, everything, rocking bloodline, everything. Very, very good. This was a good way to position the tag team match. Good way to talk about Roman Rock, everything. And also they announced that Roman will be the one inducting Paul Heyman into the Hall of Fame this Friday. And I, for one, have to say, Paul Heyman, you deserve it. So that is good that Roman, I thought it would be, someone that was with Paul early in his career. I knew it wouldn't be Brock Lesnar. That's going too far-fetched. But Roman, can't go wrong with that, I guess. It makes sense. He's the wise man for the bloodline. But that's a big honor for Paul and a big honor for Roman to induct Paul into the Hall of Fame. All right. Now, like I said, that's the end of that segment. We had some tag team matches of the night. One we did have is, let's get to it. All right, let's go here. Gunther heating up to the Intercontinental Championship match against Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. I believe that's night 2. Chad Gable training Sami. But he basically, while Sami had his match against, Big Bronson Reed as advertised, Gunther came out, he attacked, he had Chad Gable out in the ring. Sami came out, he attacked too. And it's Gunther standing tall with the Intercontinental Championship, making him look very, very, very strong heading into the match on Sunday. And he's showing that he is that damn good as the champion.
Because I am that damn good.
So this is Gunther. Like I said, he's getting ready for his WrestleMania match. This will be the second WrestleMania that Gunther walks into WrestleMania as Intercontinental Champion. As we know, he was Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania last year, and he retained it when he had a triple threat match against Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. And this year's just a one-on-one. So that'll be interesting. Now let's see what else going on for the evening. We also had here, let's see. Judgment Day had their tag team match. They won their tag team match. It was a 4-man match. Judgment Day versus DIY and New Day. Then later on, we see that Dominic's trying to recruit Andrade. They want to take care of Ricochet because they know JD couldn't get the job done last week. Ricochet won a great match. And also, this tension, Damian saying, hey, I hope you take care of it. We see possible tension in the Judgment Day. And they trying to recruit Andrade. So that's a good one. Andrade, and he met Santos too. I see a future feud between Santos and Andrade, or we could see Andrade feuding with Damien of some sort. Andrade, there's nothing for him to do. He's recently back in WWE, returning at the Royal Rumble event this year. I'm very intrigued and interested to see what is the next move for Andrade. Who does he feud with next? Will he be along with Dom? Judgment Day? It seems like Judgment Day don't want him in there. They don't trust him, whatever the case may be. I'm very interested to see what the next move is going to be for Andrade and for Judgment Day. Like for Judgment Day, we pretty much know it's going to be a wrap between that stable. We know it's going to be around much longer. We know that there's cracks in the Judgment Day. Rhea more likely is going to lose her women's world title to Becky. I heard she's reportedly injured. Don't know if that's true, if that's a rumor. We shall see what happens next. But definitely, something is going to transpire later with the whole Andrade and Judgment Day alliance. And it'd be weird to see how Judgment Day could align themselves with Santos and his, stable, since, Santos and Dom recently joined forces on SmackDown. So I don't know how that worked with Judgment Day and then bring Andrade to the mix as well. So I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. But like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what the next move is going to be for both stables and for Dom, and especially Andrade. Because I would love to see Andrade versus Santos. That's something I'm interested in. But we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. Now, also like, subscribe as you come into the ring. Like, subscribe, and I'm also on X. We will cover X also, as I didn't mention earlier, until it gets to the bonus round. Then when the bonus round hits, I will end the stream there. Say our goodbyes to X. YouTube only for Red Carpet Ring for the bonus round. Back to Raw. We also had a tag team match, as I mentioned. Maxxine and Ivy, they won a tag team match against Candice and Indi Hartwell. Indi Hartwell was upset that Indi took the loss. She was berating her. Damage Control had a little match too. They won their match. They making it look strong for WrestleMania. The Kabuki Warriors, the tag team, they went off against Zoe and Shayna. So this was good. Tag team matches, not bad at all. It was okay. I mean, I expect nothing more than that. Like I said, very, very good one. It was all right. Wasn't on my list, not a bad thing. We had that. Now later on we have, let's see, Becky Lynch. Becky and Rhea. This is really heating up between these two ladies. We know that they are going to go to WrestleMania 40 for the Women's World Championship. We know that they're going to also be, doing a thing. We know too that Becky, has momentum going in. We saw that Adam Pearce tried to stop it. He told Becky as she was cutting her promo, there will be no interaction between you and Rhea tonight. He said too that you are wait for WrestleMania. The next thing we know, Rhea music hit, and she basically don't care what Adam Pearce say. Never has no control over her. Then the two women brawl. Security guards try to break them up. They're gonna break through them. And then it got to the point you see in the last still, Becky went over the top rope and attacked everyone. And then they was even brawling backstage. So it was a good way to heat up WrestleMania. We already know who's gonna win, but I guess it's like a Ric Flair type of thing. Becky is the man for goodness. So she's a Ric Flair.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. To be the
So that was the segment between Becky and Rhea. And also, I know they had the interview on MMA Hour of REL. Becky was talking about Rhea. Rhea, did a video response to Becky, came on set, had the little interaction, so it got there. So it was not bad, you know. But we already know for advertising, we already know for political reasons, Becky's going to win the women's title, especially if Rhea Ripley's hurt. So, what more can you say about that? That it is what it is at that point. Now, since that was done, let's see what else happened that night on Monday Night Raw. We also have, let's see, Gunther, Rock. I think we're headed to the main event pretty much. And the main event, as we know, is going to be Seth freaking Rollins. Seth Rollins is going to get ready for the main event, which will be himself versus Solo Sikoa in the main event. You know, regular match. He talks to Kathy Kelly, said, you know how I do things. And then we got Drew. He cut a great promo earlier talking about CM Punk and how he's gonna walk out WrestleMania champion. He talked to Seth, and Seth, would say, basically come at me now if you want to. Do what you gotta do. And he walked off. And we got Solo versus Seth. And if anything goes, bloodline rules. And we got a glimpse and taste of how the tag team match, will go. If Rock and Roman wins, we will have so much bloodline rules for the Cody and Roman match. And it go a little something like this. It's the main event, like I said. You're getting ready for it. And it's gonna, like I said, gonna be very, very interesting. And we know Seth the main event. But we know that after the main event, Seth and Solo, we know that's going to end in chaos. It's going to end in chaos. Chaos like this. Now we know Jey Uso came out. Him and Jim were attacking each other. Then Rock came out. Attacked Jey. Then he looked at Seth, stared him down. Seth had a smirk on his face. Next thing we know, Cody comes out. To the ring. They attack the Rock. But next thing we know, we got the Tribal Chief coming around. He attacked both Cody and Seth. And we know they are whooping him with the belts. And Cody and Rock, he's so boss. He the final boss. He's wearing Cody's belt. American Nightmare belt. So savage, Rock. That is so savage what he did. That's so savage when he did that. So savage, man. It was definitely an awesome night and an awesome moment, to say the least.
And I'm awesome!
So they was not only just whooping Cody with the belts, but they whooped Seth with it too. They whooped him with the belts. There was I know Roman gave Seth the Superman punch and he gave Cody the spear. And those Rock, he don't do the rock bomb or people's elbow or spine buster. He just whoops them up. I guess he set himself for the tag team match at WrestleMania. And we know with him being in Hollywood, he's going to be filmed from May to August. He's tried the best to preserve his body so he won't injure it like he did 10 years ago after WrestleMania 29 with the main event against John Cena for the WWE Championship, which he did get injured, cost the production studio to push back filming, cost him millions of dollars. Rock had to take an L on that to the heat. And I believe it was the Hercules movie, and Rock has not jeopardized his body any way, shape, or form since that incident. Every time he come back to WWE, be involved in any type of physical action, especially a match that's coming up. It'll be the first match he had since 2016. This little 5-second match at WrestleMania 32, but of course 29 was the last full match that he had. So this was a good way. Rock and Roman was savage, still tall. Like I said, pretty much bloodline rules. We got a taste of how things are going to go WrestleMania if Roman and Rock win a tag team match. And like I said, the show closes with final boss, the Tribal Chief, standing tall over Seth and Cody. And that was definitely really good. It was that damn good.
Because I am that damn good.
Definitely a good moment for Monday Night Raw. Definitely good. Good way to close Raw. And for the second Raw in a row, we got Rock having the offense standing tall. Normally they say the ones who have the advantage standing tall have the best offense that often lose their match at WrestleMania. Whatever match they are involved in at WrestleMania. So Rock has got the advantage 2 weeks in a row. Last week you attacked Cody, left him bloody. You attacked him this week again. So if I had to guess right now, more likely, and I think I said it before, I believe I still stand on it. Seth and Cody are going to win the tag team match at WrestleMania 40 Night 1. Renee Highfield, you said that was a danger. Yep, you're right, it was. Talking about The Rock, he put his body, having his body being a liability. If that's what you're referring to, I believe you are. But definitely, the show closed with Rock and Roman standing tall, held both belts in the air. I just not see these men winning the tag team match, but Seth and Cody could win, so it won't be no bloodline rules. But even if Seth and Cody do win the tag team match, Bloodline gonna try to sneak their way in. We saw that last year, WrestleMania 39. Remember, Solo Sikoa was in there. He got thrown out by the referee, only to come back to give Simone spike to Cody. Then Roman hit that spear. Next thing you know, after that, when Roman was going for that spear to pin Michael Cole, we really got one of the Michael Cole moments. So yeah, definitely, I think that the tag match will be important, but it's not gonna stop Bloodline from being the Bloodline, doing what they do best. Try to cut corners, try to sneak way any way possible to get involved in that match. But I know Cody and Seth are gonna have people. Well, Cody mainly. Cody's gonna have people on his side defending him. Reportedly, Stone Cold Steve Austin's supposed to show up. Reportedly, John Cena is supposed to show up. But only time will tell. It will be this weekend down in Philadelphia, WrestleMania 40, night 1 and definitely night 2. But this was a good way to close out Raw. And with that being said, I have to give my final review of Monday Night Raw, which was tonight. And with that being said, my review for Monday Night Raw, 5 out of 5 all day. Good 5 out of 5. We had good segment by The Rock and Roman. We had a good way kicking off with Seth. We had good tag team matches. We had good vignettes of Chad Gable and Sami Zayn preparing for his WrestleMania match, only to get attacked by Gunther later on that night. We also have Drew McIntyre still trolling CM Punk, talking about Seth, doing a funeral segment, which was funny. Very, very savage of Drew. He's really into his character. And then we have Becky and Rhea, to face off, them two brawling it out, everything. And, just a very good Raw, very good go home show. It's the last Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania 40. The next Raw we see will be the Raw after WrestleMania, literally the night after. And that will be April 8th. Because April 6th and 7th is Saturday and Sunday WrestleMania. But other than that though, it's good setup. Cody being beat down again, but we know he's gonna get the advantage coming for the tag team match of WrestleMania 40 Night 1. Him and Seth Rollins both. So definitely a good Raw going in. I liked it. Raw has been, like Rock said, the show was sold out tonight. They hit the best gate numbers in Brooklyn, New York for April 1st Raw 2024. We got the Hall of Fame that announced Paul Heyman being inducted by Roman. And then, of course, the Hall of Fame class is done. They got the whole class complete. And that will be Friday, starting the WrestleMania weekend. But, now this is all regarding the WWE Raw live show commentary reaction. We're talking about the Monday Night Raw for April 1st and coverage, match card, preview, matches, segments, you name it. It was covered. Very good match. Very, very good matches and show tonight. This is all about telling a story. So you guys let me know in the live chat and also on the playback in the comment section. What did you think of Monday Night Raw tonight, the go home show before WrestleMania 40, which will be in Philadelphia? Now, with that being said, we are in here with the Monday Night Raw, and we're going to transition over to the bonus round, which I will discuss Becky Lynch's brand new book, which was also talked about on Monday Night Raw, The Man, the Average Girl audiobook, a review of the book, and we'll see how it goes. Was it a good book? That's the main question of that, but we will see. Allow me a few minutes. We're going to also say our goodbyes on X. You want to catch the rest, come to Red Carpet Ring on YouTube. Thank you all for X checking it out. And we will head on. Give me a couple minutes. We will transition over to the bonus round, which will be the man, Becky Lynch. So give me a couple moments, and we will definitely dive in, look into that, and get that going. Talking about the book, how the book went, talk about important parts of the book, how it went as far as, Becky telling the story the way she tells it. She was also the voice of the audiobook. If you guys are interested, so to your discretion. But let's talk about it. And we're going to get to that right now. All right. We are here at the bonus round now. The bonus round, as I discussed previously, is going to talk about Becky Lynch's brand new book, and this is Becky Lynch, the Man, Not Your Average Girl audio 2024 review. And this book is audiobook wise about almost 10 hours, but a very good book. Let's talk about it. I'll talk about the main points in the book, and I'll give my final review on it. Now, the book, she first talks about in the very beginning when Becky was worried about telling Vince McMahon about her pregnancy, and she meant that this is when Becky Lynch was the women's champion, and she was on Monday Night Raw like she is now. And she was worried about telling Vince about, should she tell Vince about the pregnancy? Because she know Vince is counting on her. She is one of the top women of the WWE, especially women's division. And basically trying to figure out how could she tell him, she thought Vince would be upset with her. And it turns out in some cases that he wasn't. He was not upset at her at all. He was very, very, very excited for her. So congratulations. You gotta take time off. And, and of course they had to change the whole title scene with her giving the belt to Asuka instead of the money back contract. The contract was the title was in the briefcase instead of the contract. So definitely a good one. Definitely something to check out. About that part that was in the beginning. Now that's one part, one little small section of the book. She also talked about mainly her childhood, She was raised in a co-parent household in Dublin, Ireland. Her mother was a flight attendant, and she stated that her dad he was struggling to find work, and he always stayed unemployed. As she stated in her book, she said he was always continuously unemployed. So I think her parents were having issues. Long story short, they end up getting a divorce. Now, despite her parents getting divorced, her dad for a while stayed in the same household with her mother, and her older brother. And that was just until her mother moved on, dated someone new, and she moved out of that home to go live close to her boyfriend and his family. And her dad was in there, and it was pretty much a co-parent household. Like I said, I know her parents had issues, but when it came to raising their children, which was Becky and her brother, they did the best they could as co-parents. And I was in Dublin, Ireland. I know Becky was a wild girl in her childhood. She also was known for drinking and smoking when she was in her teens, drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, and smoking weed. So, or marijuana, I should say, smoking marijuana. So, Becky was kind of out there. She was a wild, wild, wild child. And I didn't know all that, but that's how Becky, got down back in, as far as a teenager, being all out there, having her little wild moment. But yeah, Becky definitely was doing something different back then. She's definitely not that girl now, but she was back then. And she talks about too how her you know, that her parents breaking up affected her a little bit as well. I think that's also why she acted out like that, because her parents were still in the same household despite the divorce. Her and her brother knew they weren't together anymore. So I think that's why Becky was going all wild and out, acting all wild, just doing her thing. I mean, she was literally on one. I mean, oh man, just literally all over the place. But basically you think you know Becky, but you never know this book. You know her, but you do not know her at all. At least I didn't think so.
You think you know me. You think you know me.
So with that being said, that was her childhood. Rough childhood. She was going through rough stuff. And I know there were times she get to her mother as well. Her mother, she even stated that her mother had a rough time with Becky at times. And Becky said she was rough. And now she said that she's now a mother herself and also having a daughter herself. And she don't even understood how her mom dealt with her as a teenager, because Becky was a wild child. But with that being said, that's another part of the book. And that was very interesting to see how her childhood was. I had no idea she had a co-parent household. I thought it was two-parent household, because she seemed like she comes from that kind of background. But you never know until you know. Now, later on, after she graduated from school and everything, she went to college and everything, and she started wrestling. Now, she struggled from wrestling when she started, I think, when she was back in 2006. If I'm not mistaken, Becky was about 18, 19 at the time. But she had a neck injury, and she stopped wrestling, and she became a flight attendant, like her mom's a flight attendant. She did that for a little while, and then 7 years later, after stopped wrestling, she went back in 2012, 2013-ish. And that's how she got to Florida, Orlando, Florida, got on the NXT brand. We all know she was on there. Along the way, between that gap, she did meet a lot of today's wrestlers that happen to be in WWE as well. She did meet Fergal Devitt, which is known as Finn Balor. She met Kevin Steen, also known as Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn on the independent scene. And she even had a relationship with Finn Balor. They dated for a little while. But they dated up until Finn Balor went to leave to go to Japan, which he did do in real life, started the whole Bullet Club, which was a part of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And she says she knew once he went there to Japan that their relationship was pretty much over. They did a long distance relationship during that time frame. They did as long as they could to the best of their both ability, but it did not work out, and the two decided to go their separate ways. But no hard feelings between Becky and Finn. They are still friends to this day. They just not in a relationship anymore. Clearly, Finn is married, and Becky, of course, is married to Seth Rollins. So that was a long part of her beginning wrestling career. And like I said, got to NXT, part of the Four Horsewomen, which is herself, Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte Flair. And speaking of Sasha Banks, did you know that Sasha Banks helped, she worked with Becky? She pretty much, took her under Sasha's wing to get better. But that's another part of the book. Then later on, she talks about getting on the main roster, which was 2015. She, was the first ever women's champion, women's WWE women's champion, which was then known as the SmackDown Women's Championship. And she later talks about main events in WrestleMania 35 with women for the first time ever in WWE history. Main event in WrestleMania, for women wrestling and women's movement. That is awesome for the women. So give them their credit. And I'm awesome! So when she did that, it was a triple threat match of herself, Becky. She is Becky. Herself, Charlotte Flair, and Ronda Rousey, the newcomer at the time. And she ended up winning. And she was Becky 2 belts, winning Charlotte's belt and Ronda's belt simultaneously, the first woman to ever win both those belts at the same time. So, the press of WrestleMania, she said too that people told her that women could never main event WrestleMania. She proved it wrong. She achieved her dream, of such pretty much. Then later on, she talks about meeting, dating, and later marrying Cody Lopez, which we know him professionally in the wrestling world in the IWC as Seth freaking Rollins. She talks about how she always had a good relationship with Seth. They were always friends. Then it later blossomed into a romance. Becky had a previous relationship. Seth had a previous relationship. They were ended. And she ended up dating Seth Rollins around the time of 2019. They got together, later got engaged, then they got married, and of course, having a daughter together named Rue. So she talks about the whole thing, how she says she didn't want to, she was thinking about how dating Seth, because they were friends at first, it may ruin a friendship if they took things to the next level, meaning a relationship. So she was very concerned about that at first, but she gave it a try, obviously, and so did Seth. Here they are. They're currently married. They've been married now since 21 they got married. So they've been married for the past 3 years. I know their daughter is 4 years old now. And they've been together they've been together about 4 years altogether. They started dating in 2019, so going on 5 years. They've been together since they started dating. But she talks about the whole thing with Seth and all that. And it's interesting. It was wild how they got together. Considering they both had previous relationships. I'm not gonna go too much into it, but you check out the audiobook. I do have it on here. Parts 1, 2, and 3 of Becky Lynch, the man, not your average girl, but the datings that was wild between her and Seth, who I was kind of surprised because it was an unlikely pairing because Seth and Becky seemed like they're mismatched. It seemed like Becky's in one direction, Seth's in a whole nother direction. Because women before Becky was not like Becky. Seth dated a certain type of women, and Becky seemed like she dated a certain type of man. So it was an unlikely pairing of Seth and Becky. So when people, when I heard they were dating at the time, it was kind of shocking, kind of weird. Like, oh, those two together? Oh, okay. But anyway, she discusses that. But now another part that she talks about, which is very important. She talks about becoming a mom for the first time ever, having Rue. The pregnancy, as I stated earlier, telling Vince McMahon about being a mom. And she later talked about losing her dad to cancer because her dad was sick. I believe that Becky's father, I think he passed away a few years ago. And I know she was very, very close to her mother, very close to her mother. And she, more close to her mother than her dad, at least from what I read in the book. But I know her dad passing away really hit her, and it still hits her now. She cut that promo on Raw last week. But because thing about it is, her father passed away like shortly after having her daughter. Her daughter was born in December 2020. Her dad passed away literally 3 months after that. He passed away in March 2021. And she stated how her dad never got a chance to know her daughter well. She was only a few months. And, she didn't even get to see, her dad wasn't even allowed to see her wedding to Seth. So I know that really was touching, heartbreaking for her. And it was a lot for her. Very a lot for her. So it's sad though. It was a sad part in the book. Very, very sad part. I'm thinking about it now and it's sad, but she discusses that with her dad, and she discusses how she thinks about him a lot. Of course, she wish he was here to spend more time with her, because I know they told her the news that he was sick. No one told her at first. Her brother knew, mother knew, they didn't tell till later, and they went over to visit him that Christmas before he ultimately passed away. And she said she knew that would be the last major holiday Christmas that she would get to see her dad alive in his home before he passed away, because she just found out the man was sick. So, since her dad did pass away, I know he was not a wrestler, but since it's Becky's, that's Becky's dad, we'll give him a little salute. She talks about her dad, how, like I said, that was heartbreaking for her. Another part she talked about too was another thing that was a major part of her career. And the last thing I want to mention pretty much before I go to my final review, she talks about her feud with Charlotte Flair. Now we know that Charlotte Flair was a major part of Becky becoming a main character, her turning heel back in 2018 at SummerSlam following losing to Charlotte and Carmella in a triple threat match for the Women's Championship. She turned on Charlotte. I know she mentioned how their on-screen feud became an off-screen feud, and I believe, it was due to Becky rising to the top. Charlotte wanted to be at the top at the women's division. Little jealousy, little animosity there, in my opinion. And, of course, the whole trademark dispute made it even worse with Ric Flair. He threatened legal action against WWE filed trademark for the term "the man," which is Becky Lynch's, her gimmick. And I think the threats of the legal action, it caused a more rift between Charlotte and Becky. It was already had a little feud, and I know they was feud for quite some time. Even Becky's ex-boyfriend said that it was a rift, and then Seth Rollins also said in interviews that her and Becky just been feud for a long time. They're recently getting back on good terms. We saw that Survivor Series on screen, I think off screen as well too. But she talked about how her and Charlotte rode down the road together, being buddies, being best friends. Then it became enemies. Not speaking to each other, following the rise of Becky Lynch, and of course the trademark dispute between Ric Flair and the man. All of that, and since then Ric Flair dropped the whole thing, let Becky have the man. He can't, he apologized to Becky and Seth, and then Charlotte and Becky has things done. But I know her feud with Charlotte was a very pivotal point in her career, and later her getting punched by Nia Jax that really took her career off, because Becky was initially supposed to be a heel with the man because of her rise of popularity, and also the fans not liking Charlotte. They need somebody to cheer for, and it was Becky. So Becky got cheered instead of booed, and I think that's one reason why Charlotte Flair had a issue with Becky Lynch, saying she wanted to be the baby face, have a good baby face run, but Charlotte ended up becoming the heel, got booed, and I called that also started the rift between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. So definitely caused the rift, and it was crazy how this whole feud just started a simple feud, turned to a whole real life thing, animosity, you name it. They had the issues, it was there. So definitely, that was discussed in the book, and Becky talked about that feud, and when it was both on the SmackDown roster. This Becky was really coming up, because when she did turn on Charlotte at SummerSlam 2018, she later defeated Charlotte at the Hell in a Cell event and become the women's champion for the second time in her career. It's saying it was a better run than her initial run when she won the inaugural women's championship, then known as the SmackDown Women's Championship. We now know it as the WWE Women's Championship, the same title that Io Sky currently is holding on the SmackDown brand. But all of that being said, it was definitely a roller coaster for Becky and Charlotte. So that was something. The way Becky explained it was a good way of her explaining it and how she felt from her point of view. But other than that, was it a good book? That's the question I'm going to answer right now. And I would say, there was some moments where Becky was talking a little bit dry, and it was kind of stale at some points. But for the most part, Becky Lynch kept me on the edge of my seat, kept me entertained. I was very interested to find out, wow, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know this. Oh, I didn't know that. So definitely it kept me wanting to know more about the book, more about Becky, not as a professional wrestler, but also as an individual, as a human being. So with that being said, my final review on the book of Becky Lynch, the Man, Not Your Average Girl, I give it a 4 out of 5. Very, very good book. You guys check that out. Like I said, I have it here at the Red Carpet Ring, parts 1, parts 2, and part 3. So 3 parts of the audiobook. I did my best to bookmark it, each chapter or episode, as she stated. But very good book, something to look into. If you're a Becky Lynch fan, or you want to know more about Becky Lynch, you're starting to get interested in Becky Lynch, check out the audiobook. She explains everything about her. Like I said, not just her professional life, but also her personal life from childhood all the way to currently today, 2024. She talked about how being starting off in the independent wrestling scene, and later going to WWE, from the NXT brand to SmackDown to Raw, and winning championships and being the main event at WrestleMania 35. And she talks about certain people, Charlotte Flair. Also, she talks about Ronda Rousey. She talks about Seth Rollins, talk about Mick Foley, The Rock. she talks about plenty of people in there, and of course, this man, Stephanie and Triple H. But like I said, very solid book. Very solid book. Something you want to look into. Definitely check out. Because she had a lot to say, and she is definitely a little firecracker, a little crazy little girl. She's on fire. But she's other than that, very good audiobook. Very good. And that's all I have regarding was it a good book? And of course, well, Raw Live Show commentary reaction. You guys let me know what you thought of this audiobook, if you had a chance to check it out, or did you read the physical copy? Soon 2 videos pop up for Red Carpet Ring. First video will be top WWE champions of all time. Next video will be the top female match. Until then, it is OUT.